Hi everybody, welcome to Blackphoenix Entertainment. Today is a very fun day. I finally get to install my custom M2 shocks. I have been waiting for this forever. And that's not a slight on anybody or anything, it's just the way things went. So I ordered these quite a while ago, and to no fault of M2 or Mark there. Obviously with COVID, there was some supply chain issues and stuff like that. Anyways, he was wicked good, very communicative, and very accommodating. I did eventually get my shocks in, and they look amazing. Here's a shot of them. So they, again, as you guys can tell in the pictures, look absolutely amazing and worth the wait just to look at them. So now, today, I got the call from the shop saying, hey, we've got some room, why don't you bring the Spyder in and drop it off and we'll get going on them. So that's where I'm headed right now. And I'm not even ready. I don't even have my second camera or anything. I had no intentions on vlogging or anything today, but I got the phone call and I'm like, doing it, we gotta do it now. So, that being said, I have previously filmed some video of my Spyder with the stock suspension, taking turns and doing everything like that, just for comparison. So once I get the new suspension in, I can kind of do the same tests and kind of tell or see and feel what the differences are. So why don't we play that, and I will catch up with you guys in a minute. Alrighty, so there you go. It's not 100% scientific or anything like that, but it should give us a good base on how the Spyder is going to react and handle in comparison from the stock suspension, which quite honestly is probably old at this point. It's a 2013. It's definitely the stock suspension. I don't know if it's the original one that came with it. Who knows? But anyways, it is very squishy and does not respond in ways that I want it to. So I'm going to totally replace that with this custom M2 suspension and see how it goes. So I'm going to drop the Spyder off, let the shop do their thing, and when it's all said and done, I'm going to go pick it up and let's see how it handles. So I will catch you guys later in a little bit, because I don't know when that's going to be. So hang tight. Alrighty, I am leaving the shop right now, and just sitting on it, it definitely feels different, and just the steering inputs definitely feel different right away. I'm not even out of the parking lot yet. Here we go, onto the road. There we go. Let's see how this feels. Literally, I'm not lying, literally just picked it up, just paid for it like 2 minutes ago. So see how this goes. Oh, smooth, very smooth, nothing weird. So a good test that I just thought of. Let's hit a parking lot. Let's do some circles. Let's try to do some figure eights, stuff like that. All right, let's do some circles. Do some donuts. Not donuts. Maybe donuts. Figure eights. Interesting. That kicked right away. Interesting. I don't know if that's the nanny or power steering. Speed up a little bit. Now I start to feel it fighting me. And then it kicks in and makes me go straight. Alright, so yeah, there's definitely something going on here. After I started doing the circles and figure eights, trying to figure it out, Spyder just kept shutting down. If I went over like 15, 20 miles an hour or something, it just, handlebars would fight me and it just shut down. Basically, that's like the only word for it. Talked to M2, figured it out. Ride height in the front is set way too high and it's kind of throwing things off, so let me show you what I'm talking about. So, yeah, if I can get a picture here. So yeah, that's way too high. So what I gotta do is, you see here, I gotta take this fancy tool, put it in there, spin these, and you can see I've already marked them there. And spin these until it drops about 2 inches. So then take it for a test ride. So I'm gonna do that, and when it's ready and I can actually get this thing dropped, I'm gonna hop back on there and let's see how it goes this time. Okay, so back, took a little bit to get those rings turned on the shock there, but yeah, you just take that tool and you just keep going and turning. Make sure you have a mark so you know where you started and where you're gonna end, and eventually it lowers. It just takes some time, that's all. So I'm gonna ride it and kind of see if it reacts better than it was before. So right now it is now 2 inches lower than it was when I picked it up. So hopefully that again fixes some of the handling issues and steering and stuff like that. So yep, still kind of forcing it a little bit. Very strange. Very, very strange. Feels so much better. So a lot's happened, and this video's been started and stopped and chopped up a lot of times. But I'm just gonna get to the point. So I picked it up, realized as I started riding there was an issue. So started doing some circles and figure eights, and still had the issue. So I'm like, God, this is really weird. So reached out to M2. They said, hey, you know, what's the height on the front shocks, because that can cause some issues. I said, here's what it is. They said, hey, that's 2 inches too high. So I dropped the front by 2 inches. Rode to work, still acting funny. Still definitely not what it should be doing. And basically what's happening is the handlebars were fighting me. I would go into a turn and it would just want to stay straight. Literally the bars are not responding to anything I'm trying to do, and I'm forcing them to turn. I'm like, this is weird. And it's weird because it would work. I could push the Spyder while it was off. I could push it, move the bars. So, and in a parking lot going like slow, like backing out and stuff like that, it would work. But as soon as I started riding there, that's when it started happening. And I'm like, so it's not something physical. Like, at first I'm like, and what the guy at M2 thought too, maybe there's something physical, maybe there's something loose, maybe there's something binding up the steering, whatever, you know, any of the steering mechanisms. So I looked real quick, saw nothing. Then I did some looking up on the Spyder forums. These Spyders are power assisted. They're not 100% power steering, but they are power assisted up to a certain point. They call it a DPS unit. That thing takes a lot of voltage for when it's running, depending on, you know, how much demand is going at the time you're turning and stuff like that. One of the fixes for that is, if you are having an issue with it, check the battery cables. So I'm like, okay, I can do that in a parking lot on my break. So I did that. I came out, looked at the battery, wiggled the cables. Guess what? The ground cable, it wasn't off, but it was loose. I could wiggle it. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I tightened everything up, went out for a ride for lunch, worked perfectly fine. So, all of that being said, it was not the suspension causing that particular issue. It was the DPS unit. Coincidence? Most likely. Could have been knocked around during install, maybe. who knows what could have happened, but the fix for that was tightening up all the battery cables. The fact that it was raised up, you know, I had to drop it by 2 inches, not a huge deal. I think that's just, you know, something that you've got to play with once you install shocks like this. You know, got to get the ride height set perfectly. But I'm happy. I've already ridden it a little bit. Now that I know what it feels like, it's going to be amazing. And I'm going to do a long-term review on them, obviously. This is really, I've only had this working 100% for maybe an hour. So, like I said, on my ride on my lunch and stuff. So, and now me commuting home. I gotta go. I gotta get out of the city, hit some twisties, really get some miles on them, so I can do a really proper review for you guys. But that was my ordeal with the suspension, the whole deal, the weight, the install, the issues, all of that, all wrapped into one super exciting video for you. So now I'm gonna end it with some of the same things that I did with the stock suspensions. That way we can compare it, and if I can, I'm going to compare it side by side, so that way we can kind of see the differences of stock compared to aftermarket. And I guess now I will bid you adieu. So goodbye and good night.